Good morning, everyone. I ask that you please stand for the presentation of the colors, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance and a moment of silence.
Detail, stand up. Detail, present, arm.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Order, arms.
At this point, I would ask that we take a moment of silence to remember those that tragically lost their life during the attacks on our country that took place on September 11th, 2001.
Detail, at ease.
Thank you. Please take your seats. For those of you that do not know, I'm Michael Locke, the current Chief of Police here in Hanover Township. On behalf of the Police Department, I welcome all of you to this celebration. First, I'd like to recognize several of our retired officers who have joined us here today. Detective Sino, Detective Seeley, Detective Sergeant Quirk, Lieutenant Lachlan, Captain Waldron, Deputy Chief Bolkar, and Chief Gallagher. Thank you all for coming back to Hanover Township today to celebrate this event with us. Today marks another chapter in our remembrance of Hanover Township Chief of Police John J. Deventer. It was on January 2nd, 1960 that John Deventer joined the police department. He rose through the ranks with a series of promotions which included sergeant in 1969, lieutenant in 1973, deputy chief in 1974, and ultimately chief in 1981. After 34 years of service, Chief Deventer retired in 1994, and even in retirement, Chief Deventer continued his dedication to serve and protect those that needed him. It was his dedication and commitment to help that led Chief Deventer to assist friends with tending to a grave site in Newark, New Jersey on July 14th, 1995. During the events of that day, Chief Deventer courageously intervened as two cowards who were armed with a handgun attempted to steal the vehicle that the chief and his friends had driven to the cemetery. As is evident from his actions that day, Chief Deventer died as a steadfast leader and protector to those that needed him most. It was said by Dr. Kevin Elko, a nationally renowned psychologist who has worked with NCAA championship teams, professional athletes, and hundreds of corporations, that said, "What you do with you and for you dies with you. What you do with and for another outlives you." It is almost as though Dr. Elko was describing Chief Deventer and his lifelong years of service to others, but more specifically, his actions on July 14th, 1994. It is because of his compassion, professionalism, and loyal service to the community that today we dedicate the Chief John J. Deventer Memorial Police Headquarters. I'd like to now introduce Hanover Township Mayor John Ferramosca.
Good morning and welcome to the memorial service for Chief John Deventer. Today is a special day of honor in Hanover Township for someone who gave it all. On behalf of the Township Committee members, Ron Francioli, Thomas Hayes Cahill, Brian Cahill, Thomas Hayes Gallagher, and Michael Mahalko, we welcome you. We also welcome the greater members of the Deventer family who are with us today. We welcome their friends. We welcome members of the law enforcement and first responders throughout the communities, as well as elected officials, both present and past, some of which I've seen here. I hope I don't offend anyone, but Assemblyman Bergen, Mayor Drutzler, former Assemblywoman DeCroce, Committeeman Olson, Capola, Mayor Sheridan, and Mayor Drutzler. We welcome you all and thank you for participating in this service today. At this time, I'd like to introduce Committeeman Francioli to provide you with a reflection of some of his thoughts about Chief John Deventer.
Thank you, Jim.
Just pull the microphone closer.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome. Welcome to the Deventer family, Sharon, Tammy, Susan, John, who are here with us today. As a longtime member of the Hanover governing body and one who served countless years alongside Chief of Police John Deventer, it's an honor for me to be here today to speak. We gather on the steps of the very police department where John Deventer spent most, if not his entire career, in law enforcement. We are here to honor his memory, his courage, and his loyalty to the job and to the public that he served. He was an example to all of us. Friday, July 14th, 1995, 27 years, 1 month, and 27 days ago, John awoke to a record-breaking heat wave here in New Jersey. The day was clear. Los Angeles Dodger pitcher Ramon Martinez won 135 games, pitched a no-hitter against the Marlins, 7-0. It was also a day unlike any other. That morning would hang heavy in the hearts of Hanover Township forever. Chief of Police John J. Deventer was shot and killed. For those of us who had the privilege to know John, he was a friend, he was a colleague, a husband, a father, a grandfather. He raised his fine family here in the very town that he proudly protected. John rose through the ranks, was promoted to chief at the same time as Administrator Joe Giorgio was hired on time, 40 years ago. Deputy Chief Stephen Bolkar, also here today, served alongside John for all those many years, and they supported what remains to be one of the finest police departments in Morris County. John was not a pretentious man. His soft-spoken style and his temperament made him perfect for the diplomat that he was, a distinguished police officer. He had the incredible ability to work alongside and survive many a Hanover Township committeeman. Albone, Iannacone, Skurla, Salker, Radice, Donofrio, George Capola, and yes, yours truly. For that alone, he should have been sainted. John was our friend, a member of the municipal family, And so the news of his sudden and tragic death sent a shockwave through the governing body and all of Hanover Township. This could not be happening. The murder of Chief John Deventer did not go unnoticed. It raised awareness in Trenton and initiated legislation that today allows trained retired officers to carry firearms, protecting themselves and continuing to protect the very public that they served. This morning, with John's passing, we'll memorialize in perpetuity here in his hometown with the naming of our police department in his namesake and with his beautiful plaza that will bear his monument, a monument that was placed inside our police headquarters at the moment of his death. We thank our Chief Locke, Administrator Joe Giorgio, Superintendent Brian Foran, Engineer Jerry Macera, the officers of our department and all for making this day possible. To the family of John Deventer, daughters Sharon, Tammy, and Susan, son Peter. Along with their families here today, and on behalf of the governing body, it's our sincere hope that this dedication will bring peace, comfort, and closure, and that in some way it expresses the gratitude of our entire caring community for John and all he has given us. His name will live in Hanover forever. So today, this day, is a momentous day. A day of remembrance, a day to further heal, to celebrate, and a day to trade sorrow for pride and respect for one of Hanover's favorite sons. To close, my friends, God bless you, John Deventer. You'll always remain in our hearts. You epitomized the best of Hanover. God bless you all for being with us and joining us here today on this dedication, and thank you very, very much. God bless you. On that note, I'd like to introduce Deputy Mayor Tom Ace Gallagher, who'd like to make a presentation. Ace?
First of all, this is an incredible day in Hanover Township. When we began speaking of this in earnest, I said it was a long overdue, incredible honor and well-deserved. I did not know Chief Deventer, but I know Chief Deventer's family. I became aware of the Deventers in 1975. My mom, Mrs. Gallagher, a music teacher from Hanover, loved the Deventers. I even have the ticket from Annie Get Your Gun, Tammy, that we found when we were cleaning out my mom's room. But what I'd like to say is my attitude about law enforcement, I believe, is very clear, and I hope I made it very clear in all my public service, because I owe my life to police officers and law enforcement. At 4 years old, many, many times I was rushed to the hospital in Bayonne on 30th Street because I couldn't breathe, and one time I turned blue. I consider every day of my life free time because I should have died several times. Every time my father carried me down the steps, he'd say, "Where's the ambulance?" The police officer would say, "Don't worry about it, throw him in the back of the car." I was awake. I thought it was great. I was 4 years old. I was flying up 30th Street going about 75, 80 miles an hour. But I appreciate public service. I appreciate wonderful people doing the right thing for the right reason. I know about Chief Deventer, and I respect the chief and his family, and I will not leave out John Deventer. I didn't really know John like I knew Chief's daughters, but my brother Dan is very good friends with John, and I knew John was a very good drummer. And until I had children, all I cared about was how well I was playing the drums on any given day. So I would say to my brother, "How's that John Deventer? I heard he's really good." Dan would say, "He's really good." I go, "Is he better than me?" He'd go, "Be quiet." But they're a very musical family. We have a bond with the Deventer family, and I'm so sorry for the pain you guys have gone through, and I want you to know, like Ron said, we will not ever forget about Chief Deventer and his sacrifice. And the last thing I'll say before I introduce members of the 200 Club is years ago we created an initiative and we were interviewed, and it had to do with schools, parks, and police. And I said a police officer and a school teacher are very, very special people because their job is to care for others. You can't pay somebody enough money to care for others. And in this case, that caring went to an incredible sacrifice. And being a father and having one living parent, I know how valuable that is. So guys, God bless you guys. We love you guys. I love you guys, and my family loves you guys. And on that note, I would like to call up Janet from the 200 Club. I'd like to call up Committeeman Capola, who's also going to be representing the 200 Club, and my dear friend and colleague Brian Cahill, who's our Director of Public Safety, and Brian also has a very close tie to the Deventer family, and we would like to make a presentation from the 200 Club to the Deventer family. Before I ask Janet to say a few words about the 200 Club, I just want to make something clear. I spoke to our president about Chief Deventer, and they were all very aware of the situation in the story, and they were heartbroken over it. And I said, it looks as if we're going to put together a dedication in Hanover Township to the chief. I said, it's important to me that the 200 Club honor this family. And he said, I think it's a great idea. Please present it to the trustees. How many trustees do we have, Janet?
Trustees and board members?
Yeah.
About 20-something. Yeah, it's ever increasing.
Well, the president asked me to bring it to the floor at our meeting at the police academy, and it was unanimous. They said anything we could do for the Deventer family and to honor this sacrifice, we would do. So we have a plaque today for the Deventer family, and we have one for Chief Locke to display in the new Chief Deventer headquarters. Janet, if you can approach and please read this with us.
Sure.
And say a few words.
And yeah, I would like to say a few words about the 200 Club. Firstly, before anything, I'd like to thank the entire Deventer family for allowing us to honor Chief Deventer for his leadership and for his sacrifice and for his honor. And I stand here also as a Whippany girl for most of my life, and also having worked in the prosecutor's office in major crimes. So when I worked at the prosecutor's office, Chief Deventer was the chief in Hanover Township. So I spent a lot of time here. The 200 Club, for those folks who are not totally familiar with the 200 Club, we're 51 years strong this year. The club was formed to create awareness and to remember first responders being EMT, fire, Office of Emergency Management, police, and New Jersey State Police, who are working and or living in Morris County, and who have meritoriously or in valor protected, the citizenry of Morris County. The funds we raise go toward the death benefits for those who have gone through the ultimate sacrifice of giving their lives up to protect others. To those spouses, we give a death benefit. We also give child support up through year 18 of their lives, and we also provide scholarships to the qualifying high school graduates. So and as I said, we're 51 years strong because our mission and our motto is for people never to forget the sacrifices that our first responders and our police, and especially Chief Deventer, have made. So in honor of the chief, on behalf of the 200 Club of Morris County and our president, Dr. Rob Domidio, who was not able to be here due to a family emergency out of state. Distinguished Service Award presented to the family of Chief John J. Deventer in posthumous recognition and high esteem for his meritorious and faithful service and devotion to duty as an officer and chief of Hanover Township Police Department. 34 years of outstanding service, 1960 to 1994. And to rephrase something that Colonel Callahan had stated at one of our awards dinners some years ago, but for the grace of God, go all of these men, including Chief Deventer. Thank you.
Tammy, would you like to come up with your family, or would you like us to bring it down to you? It's up to you. George?
Thank you.
John's camera's over to the left.
I should. Why? How do I?
I'm right.
Thank you all.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. This is
Tammy.
beautiful.
Thank you.
Thank you. I'm just going to stay.
Brother.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, man.
Very nice of you. Appreciate it.
I appreciate you guys.
Very much.
Thank you very much.
You can stay right there.
Thank you.
That was great.
That was very nice.
She's staying.
I'll take this down.
We're going back down there, Tammy?
Yeah, you want to stay with us? You can stay with us. I think we have an extra chair. Chief, thanks for that opportunity. Thanks.
Before I invite the entire Deventer family up, I would just like to recognize all of those that helped put this celebration together. This would not have been possible without the assistance of the Departments of Engineering, Finance, Administration, and also the Township Committee. I would like to especially recognize the Department of Public Works, who worked through the heat of the summer to install this amazing display. Colin Fitzsimmons led the Buildings and Grounds team to ensure this project was completed as planned. Thank you all for your hard work to make this happen. Lastly, to the members of the Hanover Township Police Department, thank you for your professionalism, dedication, and honorable service to our community. Your service is steeped with tradition, as you can see here today. I'd like to now invite Sharon up to talk before we unveil the monument.
Good morning, everyone. Can you hear me? Okay. We want to thank everyone who contributed in this wonderful dedication for our father. Chief Locke, fellow officers, Township Committee, and Ron Francioli, who was a personal friend of our father's. You all played a special part in this dedication. We also wanted to thank the Parks and Recreation for this beautiful garden and monument, and especially Brian Ferran. And a shout out to Colin Fitzsimmons for his beautiful landscape. Thank you as well to the 200 Club. Everybody, thank you so much. It's so nice to see so many people here that I haven't seen in such a long time. This is such an honor. When we came to Hanover Township, it was 1960, and we came here because our father joined the police force. It was a very small and intimate town. Everybody knew everybody else. Route 10 was a two-lane highway. There were no barriers. There were farms all over. Down in East Hanover by Best Buy was a dairy farm, and we even had milkmen. And when we moved from one side of town to the other, we couldn't find the key to our house because we never locked it. Those were good days. So many of our dad's friends and colleagues are here today. And those of you who knew him, I'm sure were not surprised of his heroism that horrific day. It was a true representation of his character. His quiet personality with a dash of wit made for a loyal, kind, smart, and fun man. He took pride in his career and wore his badge proudly. He loved being a police officer. He understood the importance of education and went to college when he was 43. He received his degree in political science and later became chief. Our dad was a pioneer in this town. He helped to establish different protocols and policies for the Hanover Township Police Department. In 1997, Governor Christie Whitman signed into law that retired police officers could carry concealed weapons. Our father's murder was a direct catalyst for this law. It is known as the John Deventer Law today. From the day he was murdered to today, we are still approached by people who tell us stories of how our father helped them in their lives. Even today, Brian Fenner told us about a story that he did, that our dad did. He loved boating and fishing and spending time with his family, especially his grandchildren, James, Ryan, Genevieve, Mark, Albie, Curtis, and Brittany. It's a shame that they were all robbed of his love, attention, and wisdom. He would be very proud of all of their successes today. And he had a great influence on them. One of his grandchildren, Al Wagner, followed in his footsteps and is a member of the Brotherhood in Schaumburg, Illinois. We are very proud of everybody. On behalf of my brother John and my sisters Tammy and Susan and our entire family, we would like to thank all of you who came out today to celebrate this dedication. We have been so blessed to have you in our lives with your continued love and support. Our father lived his life helping other people, and that's how he died. We will always be proud of him. We love him, and we miss him. This has been an honor. Thank you very much. Thank you, everyone.
I'd like to invite the entire Deventer family down to the monument to unveil it for the public. At this time, on behalf of the Township Committee, I invite everybody into the main meeting room for some refreshments, and there's some nice old pictures in there that the family provided. Take a look at them and exchange some stories with you. Thank you all for coming today. We greatly appreciate it. You guys want to stay for a second? We're going to bring... You guys want to come down here?